Are you at that point in your life with your teen? You're in maybe 11th grade, 12th grade, and you're like, what are we doing now? What's the next step?
Mhm.
What's going to be a great path for you? So that's what we're talking about today. I have Jay Dusold,
Hi.
founder of Life
Perfectly.
After 12. He's a teen coach. He helps teens and young 20s identify career paths that aligns with their design and match how they are wired for work. I mean, it's so critical, right, to know these pieces before you delve in.
Mhm.
So, Jay, I'm going to turn it right over to you. I love serving parents, giving them ideas of how they can parent, easier through this journey. So, let
Mhm.
us know what you do and how you help teens, how you guide parents. Give us the stuff. Give it.
All right, great. Yeah, for sure. I'm so glad to be here. So, everyone who's watching, thanks for tuning in. This is a lot of fun. Dale and I are relatively new friends. She's been into my Facebook group talking about her amazing story of the gut health and transformation. And yeah, we had great feedback. The parents
Oh,
were like
yeah.
asking questions. I know you got some people to join your group. So, I'm so happy to be here in your community today. So,
Yeah.
yeah, guys. So basically, what I do is I help teens and young 20s understand their wiring through ways that are actually verifiable, meaning it's not just their opinion of themselves, but we could actually get an accurate understanding of who they are in the areas that actually matter for career direction. Because there's a lot of cool things,
Mhm.
about our personality that we can find out. I love doing that. My wife made me take the Enneagram recently so she could figure me out, and now I'm in trouble. um, but there are some things about our personality, our wiring that are cool to know, but not necessarily helpful for finding life work and careers that are going to be a great fit. So I focus on finding the four that really matter and then showing students how to actually find specific career positions that have a high degree of matching and aligning how they're wired for work so that they can go into positions that will become successful and motivating and fulfilling. So that's kind of like the one-on-one coaching work I do with students directly. But I love to empower and encourage parents. This is how I got started in this work, Dale. I was a parent of a junior in high school back in 2014. And when I was trying to help him figure it out, like most parents that are in that time, it's really confusing.
Mm.
There weren't many resources that we found that were actually helpful, but we felt the pressure of saying, oh no, if we don't get this right, we could waste money, he can waste time. Like, we didn't want to have a fail on this because we knew it was important. I just came up, I kind of connected with a tool that I knew about from the early 90s that was analyzes behavior and students tell stories instead of answering questions. And I found the guy who created it and I asked him if I could bring it into the teen world. And he was agreeable to that. And so now I support parents in our Facebook group by encouraging them. I have tons of little free resources I give them to help influence their teens to think about finding careers differently than some of the ways that we're told today in our society. They have access to me all the time to encourage them to, again, just help them with some guided things to be a good resource to their teen. We talk about communication and how to get your teen even talking about career stuff. So I
Mhm.
really have a passion to support parents, behind the scenes, so that they can feel encouraged and they can feel supported during this really critical and often challenging time with their young people.
Yeah, I love it because I think so many kids, and I know my experience with my kids, two of them that went to college, both went for a degree that when they got out, they were like scratching their heads, like, what do I do with this?
Hmm.
And I don't really feel really passionate about it any
Yep.
longer. So that was really defeating, but
Hmm.
I didn't want them to come out and feel defeated and
Exactly.
feel like they wasted all this time. You know
Yep.
what I mean? So for
Hmm.
for what you do, I wish I had known you years ago when we
Hmm.
went through this.
Yeah.
And I think
Yep.
and people don't look at it like that way, like a more holistic view of what's a good fit for you. And
Hmm.
I think if we took the time to do that, we would save a lot of frustration, a lot, just have a better path, a more path that's in alignment with the
Hmm.
person. So, and I think
That's
this
good.
generation is very much into that. Like they want to do something that's going to make them feel more
Hmm.
purposeful,
Hmm.
which is a great thing. But to
Absolutely.
find it, I think we need guidance and tools like you provide to
Yep.
help us find that. So, talk about the tools that you use. Again, can you describe that a little bit more? We were talking about it before we went live.
Yeah, for
Like
sure. Yeah.
simple formula.
So basically, one of the key tools that I use, it's a story-based assessment tool. Most tools that are out there, at least actually all of them that I've ever found, and I was looking back in 2014, again, like I said, trying to help my son. I kept coming across tools that were answer-based, meaning they would ask a question or make a statement, and then there were five provided responses, and the participant, the student, was in control of what answers they selected, right? They just filled out whatever it was. And studies have shown that when people take those kinds of assessments, a lot of bias creeps in, and especially with young
Mm,
people. So they're answering not based on who they really are, but more who they want to be, right? So they're not
mm,
answering those questions with honesty as far as the answer reflecting themselves, right? And so there's no checks and balances in those systems to say, wait a minute, that's not really true of you. You should have selected this answer, right? That more accurately reflects who you really are. There's nothing in the system to ensure that happens. So young people are putting in answers, feeding in data into these systems, and when suggestions come out, it's not really based on the young person, it's who the young person said they were, right? Which could be different from who they really are. And so this
right.
tool is
Mhm.
story based. Students tell stories from their past, and it's a fun activity. And they tell these stories, and I interview them, and I draw out some more details. And then the stories and the interview stuff, we actually analyze it with proprietary AI software, and it finds a patterned, repeated behavior in the client, specifically in four areas that actually matter for career direction. And so the students then get that information, they get that feedback, they learn who they are in those four critical areas. And then we take the results and we actually find positions that match their wiring and align with their design.
Mind blown. I'm sorry. That is amazing. Can you tell us what those 4 positions are, or those 4?
Yeah, the discoveries. Yeah, sure. So I've called it. I just come to call it career DNA. Okay,
Okay.
because just like biological DNA is an invisible code that establishes what we become physically, and it's a perfect analogy because career DNA is also an invisible code, but it establishes the types of things we should become occupationally. And there's a range. There's not one fit. There are many things that would actually fit our wiring. So career DNA really represents the elements of someone's inner essence that have a direct bearing on career direction and finding fits. All right. So again, there's four of them. So the first part of a person's wiring that really matters is what we call their enjoyed abilities. Okay. So these are the aptitudes that they possess, things they do at level 9 and 10, but also are accompanied with a lot of joy and happiness in doing them, right? Because listen, Dale, you know that we can all do things at level 9 or 10 that we actually hate doing. And you don't want to be in a career where you could do the stuff really well, but you hate doing it. I mean,
Mm,
that's a recipe for disaster, right?
mm,
So we find the enjoyed abilities, the aptitudes that they actually like using. Okay. The second thing that we can actually discover is what we call preferred content. Preferred content. These are the things that our kids actually are wired to work with, on, or through in work. It could be things like people, right? Like they're just, man, they have such a desire, such a preference to actually work with people. It could be logic, could be numbers, it could be objects, right? Every young person is wired, it's part of their hardwiring. They are designed for a set of preferred content. The third thing that we discover are the things that will trigger and sustain a young person's intrinsic motivation. Okay. And these specifically are like
huge.
elements in a work environment that will activate a young person, but also then keep them enthusiastically engaged in the work. So let me give an example of a trigger, right? So some people are wired to need the presence of a threat or a challenge or a problem. Okay. And if the environment in which they do their work is always throwing a challenge, oh, there's a threat, oh, there's a problem, a fire to put out. If that is present in the environment of the work context, they are going to rise up and they're going to get activated to start doing something about it. Some people, that presence would actually shut them down, not activate
Mm,
them. threat, problem, a challenge constantly coming into their world of work, they'd be like, oh, I can't take this. This is too much. It's too stressful. I just need some peace and calm. Right. So that's an example of a trigger. Examples of sustainers would be things like, what degree of structure makes our kids feel motivated to keep going, right? Do they need like everything spelled out and it's detail, or some of our kids, they need a blank page. They need to bring the structure, right?
Oh, I'm loving
And
this.
if they don't have that element in the work environment that matches part of their intrinsic motivation sustainers, they're not going to feel motivated the way they should or could if they were in a place where those things were present for them. Right. So we can actually find there's about 7 categories of triggers and sustainers that we can find. And then the fourth thing that we discover in this assessment is what we call a motivated payoff, a motivational payoff. Okay. And this is the thing that really makes a person feel satisfied and fulfilled with their work. Every human is wired to look for something to get a payoff from their
Mhm.
efforts that makes them feel really fulfilled and satisfied with what they're doing. So, an example could be making an impact. Some people, at the end of the day, Dale, they need to see that what I'm doing is making some kind of an impact.
Mhm.
Okay? Some people could care less, though, about impact. They are wired to move through ordered steps to a clearly defined goal. Ah, if they can do that, they're like the happiest person in the universe. Can you imagine those two different people getting together? And the person who's wired for the ordered process and the clearly defined goal sharing that, the person wired for impact would say, who cares about that? Right?
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, if you're not
My
making an impact, why would you want to live? Okay, and again, Dale, this is actually part of human wiring. This is not a chance. This is not an accident. This is part of that career DNA. So when I work with clients in my one-on-one coaching, we can accurately, by observing patterned repeated behavior, find those 4 things. We don't rely on their opinions. We don't only look at what are their aptitudes, like unfortunately so many assessments today do. We get a holistic awareness in those 4 areas based on actual behavior, objective behavior, not subjective opinions.
Wow. Amazing. Holy smokes. I'm thinking of my daughter right now. I'm like, gosh darn it. So once you have that information,
Mhm.
ha do you have certain jobs that you would say, like, how do you identify that a job would meet those, would be a
Yeah,
good fit, basically?
right.
Is there a way to do that?
Yes. So again, a lot of times what assessments do, these career quizzes, at the end, they'll kind of spit out a list of, several things, right?
Mhm,
And I definitely don't take that approach. So what I believe in, the old adage, Dale, is if you teach a man, if you give a man a fish, you feed him for a meal. But if
mhm.
you teach a man to fish, you'll feed him for a lifetime.
Right.
Okay. So that's the philosophy I use in the method and process of working with the results. So I teach students how to take their new self-awareness in those 4 areas and then actually find specific positions that fit. Right. So we start with the abilities, and then again, there's a whole system that I
Right.
have in place for
So
doing this.
you guide them, or they more or less have the information now and they know how to decipher, oh, that job's not going to be good for me. Is that
Yeah,
what
great.
you're saying? So you don't specifically say, oh, this kind of job would be good for you. They now have the information and the empowerment, and knowledge and awareness about themselves to say, that's not going to be a good fit for me.
Yeah, it's a combination. So they don't know how to take the results and find fits. So the whole coaching process is saying, okay, step one, do this. And they take their results and they do step one. And then we talk about it one-on-one coaching. I say, great, now do this. And there's a worksheet. Okay, they add that part on. Okay, great. Now we're going to do this. And so it's a guided step-by-step process. Now, they learn it. I'm doing it with them, and we
Mm,
find a fit. That's what the coaching does. The investment is in actually identifying one verifiable fit. Now, again, there's many fits for them, right? But the Coaching gets them to a fit, but they learn the process as well. And they have all the worksheets,
Mhm.
they have all the training, lifetime access to those things. So they can leave the coaching, Dale, and say, you know what? I found a great fit. I'm super excited, but I know there might be some others. Before I make a decision, I want to go find some others. And now they have the process. I love the word that you used. They're empowered. They're empowered with a
Mm.
process to do this indefinitely. Dale, what happens if they get into their first fit? And that's what I tell clients. This isn't necessarily a final fit, it's just your first fit.
Mm.
What happens if they get into a great fit and then there's a downturn in the economy and they're forced to pivot? Oh, no. They don't panic. They go back to the process. They take out the assessment results. They know themselves and they know Jay taught me how to use this. I'm going to find my next fit, right? They could just want to have a change up because they know there's something else out there. That's actually a lot based on wiring. But sometimes they want to like explore something else. They're empowered to do that over and over and over again.
Oh, I love it. This is so good. So good. So do you find that most kids want to go to college after 12th, or they're still like, I'm not sure if that's a good fit for me?
I think there's cultural pressure. There's culture, the narrative out in our culture running in the background, influencing everyone is
Mm.
absolutely you should go to college and you'll be better off. Okay. That is not true. That is one of the biggest myths. There's about three core myths that I have to bust in my work. People have just mindlessly adopted this. Now,
Mm.
it's an old, antiquated, broken paradigm. It was true 15, 20 years ago. It was true. It's no longer true, but most parents are still stuck in that outdated paradigm that's not true anymore. Okay. So I am not anti college. I am anti college as a default mode. Okay.
Yeah. Oh,
One of
yeah.
my sons, he went through the assessment, Justin. That's how I got into this work. I shared that earlier. We verified a particular fit for him. It required a degree, so he went to college. My other son, my youngest son, he went through the assessment and we identified a great fit for him that did not require a college degree. He did not go to college. He learned a trade. Now he's running the guy's business. Okay. So what I am for is a
Mm.
verifiable fit first, then the educational route or the equipping route that's going to serve the known end destination.
Mhm.
That's what I'm for. This is how I say it now, Dale. I say, who would purchase a plane ticket before knowing where the conference is? Who,
Good.
who would do that? Nobody. Who invests in a ticket to a destination without first knowing what the destination should be? Right? And this is exactly what happens with college as a default mode. Everyone goes, they just mindlessly go.
Mm.
I talk to people and say, oh, they'll figure it out. No, no, that's not true. Not all of them figure it out. And so we
Mhm.
have 80% change majors multiple times. 57%, Dale, 57% of college people, they delay graduation by 2 years. It now takes 57% of students 6 years to complete a 4 year degree. And 72% graduate and actually get a job unrelated to their earned major. And these are all published statistics, by the way. These aren't
Mhm.
things I'm making up. And I haven't even mentioned that, oh, before any of that happens, 40% actually drop out. Right. So it's like, guys, come on, wake up. We got to wake up,
Mm.
right?
Wow.
We're championing a path where and everyone's doing this, right? High schools have basically become college prep now. Everyone talks about college, 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 college. And when we look at the numbers, right? Who is this actually working for the way it was intended? Meaning you go into it, you do 4 years, you graduate, and you use your earned degree. The percentage of young people for whom that is actually working is so small. I mean, right off the bat,
Mhm.
4 out of 6 in a room, if we have 10 rather, 4 out of 10 in a room are not even gonna make it to the end, right? And so but this is the narrative we keep reinforcing, and it's destructive. It's toxic, and it's absolutely destructive.
Wow. I mean, I feel your passion right now. Like, I feel like I just hit a nerve.
Uh-oh.
I mean, you are just like, woo. No, I love it. I love it. We have to start thinking outside of the box and
Yes.
thinking about like that might not be the right formula today. So I love that you said that. So we could
Yeah.
talk forever. This has been so interesting and so helpful. And I think you could help way more than just the teens and 20-year-olds. I think this would apply big time to people that are in their 30s and
Yes.
40s that still are in a job that they're miserable at. And they're
Yep.
just like, I don't know what the heck to do, but I feel so unfulfilled. And it's just not, I'm not
Yeah.
joyful.
Well,
You
when I started the work, Dale, with teens, I had parents, to your point, I had parents say, "Hey, Jay, can you work with me? I still don't have it figured out." And I actually started a
Wow.
branch of what I do. It's called Love Your Life Work. I don't market it, I don't promote it because I want to help young people reach their full potential and avoid the waste. So I focus on that. But I do work with adult clients who find me and they're like, "Hey, I want it. Like if you're saying I could actually nail a fit and you're guaranteeing it, basically, this is what I need. I don't want to keep spinning my wheels. I want to get right to it." So
Yeah, I
yeah,
have a few people in mind that I'm thinking that I
cool.
want to send your way. But
Okay.
t talk about, because I know we're going a little bit over time here.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about your group, and then I want to talk about Awesome Somewhere.
Yeah. Okay. So my group is a Facebook group. It's called Life After 12, Life After 12TH. And that's where I support parents. I pretty much just about weekly do a training video. I'm always dropping free resources. Parents have access to me for questions and answers. So that is my support initiative to help parents who are trying to help their kids figure things out.
Fantastic. And then Awesome Somewhere. I know this is a long-term vision, but I
Mhm.
just love it, and I want you
Thank
to just
you.
put it out there. So
Yeah,
tell us
so
about
so
it.
yeah, Awesome Somewhere is an initiative out of my coaching work that's really designed just to take a message of hope and encouragement and empowerment directly to students. You
Love
know,
it.
I'm usually doing one-on-one work with clients. I work globally with young people, but I wanted to take the message of encouragement and empowerment and get it unlocked from behind the Zoom of one-on-one clients. And I wanted to bring it out into the universe more fully. And so I'm developing Awesome Somewhere. We just launched Awesome Somewhere. And the premise is convincing teens that they can be awesome and empowering them to figure out where. And so this is a talk and a movement for young people trying to get into schools and bring this message to as many young people as I possibly can. So I'm at the very beginning journey. Dale, when we met, I'm just in the launch phase of that. I'm looking for students to get involved with the launch team, looking for parents to get involved to help us with that. So yeah, I'm super excited about where that's going for sure.
Me too. I can't wait to see how that develops. We have a bunch of people watching that are saying this
Cool.
was very valuable.
Oh, good.
Deirdre's saying so cool, so interesting. So we got some people watching with us now. I so appreciate your time. I
Thank
love the work that you're doing. Absolutely love it. I think it's going to be super powerful, helpful, empowering,
you.
all of that, to teens and adults. So
Yeah.
thank you so much for your time today. I appreciate you. I look forward to watching this all unfold. I love the Awesome Somewhere. I love the name of it, because kids, they have to feel joyful. They have to feel
Yes.
that they have a place in this world,
Yes.
bringing their gifts. You know what I
Yep.
mean? Like it's just so, so important for our society as a whole.
I
Mm,
totally agree with you. Thank you. Yes.
yeah, we're on the same page.
We
All
are.
right,
Yes.
thank
Yes.
you. Thank you so much. I so
Yeah.
appreciate you.
Dale,
All
thank
right.
you so much. Appreciate the invite. And it was great to be here with your community today.
Yes.
Appreciate you.
Thank you so much.